Hey, what it do, what the business is.
This is another week in the books with the On Deck TV podcast. I am Spike Lou.
Man, holla at your boy, Animal Brown, Animal_Brown, if you're looking for me on all things social media.
Absolutely. I'm Spike Lou on those same social sites. Holla at your boy. How you feeling out there?
Man, feeling good, feeling great. Got my rain boots on. I feel like it's been raining for 30 days straight down here in Atlanta. I don't appreciate that, but we slipping and sliding out here in these streets.
It's definitely been pitching a bitch down here. It's just nuts. Been swimming back and forth to the mailbox.
Man.
Good thing I got my Michael Phelps on, and I know what I'm doing out there in these streets.
With the Speedo on.
Yeah, tough. Getting it in out here. Body of a swimmer.
Oh,
I'm joking. But we back with the On Deck TV podcast, man. We appreciate y'all jumping in with us every week. And I got to put $1 in the pot there. It's the On Deck TV show.
There you go.
Podcast. Got to put $1 in the pot there. So every time you find yourself referring to it, it's just a podcast, put $1 in the pot and send it our way. This week, man, on the On Deck TV show, we're talking about the perfect album, man. We had a really good idea as Animal Brown is going to build the perfect album, and I'm going to tell you a couple of albums that I think are perfect as Spike Lou. But before we get to that, man, before we get to that, we have a Verzuz announcement with Locks and Dipset. Also, you got Pop Smoke's drops a posthumous album. Want to know what you thought about that? And there are Kanye rumors that I'm sure you can't wait to get to. But first, we want to start with an RIP to Biz Markie, man. There were rumors out there previously. It finally came down that he did pass, man. So we want to send our condolences out to his family, all of his friends, all of his fans.
Absolutely, man. He had been hospitalized with type 2 diabetes last year. He had been kind of going through it ever since then. Shout out to Fat Joe, man. Biz Markie's wife said Fat Joe had talked to Biz Markie every day for the past year. So big respect, showing him support to the OGs. Of course, his biggest record was The Friends. That shit, I just lost me that fucking quick. Just a Friend. God damn.
You say he's just a friend?
Yeah, man. Biggest joint from Biz Markie. It's a little bit before my time, but most definitely rest in peace to Biz Markie. Condolences to friends, family, and fans as well. He was only 57, bro. That's not old, bro.
That's not old, man. There's a lot of talk with the passing of these iconic stars in hip hop about paying attention to your health, what you need to do to be around longer than 50 years. Because 50 years is not a long time. You remember when we were coming up, we used to think 50 was old.
Absolutely.
I guess the closer you get to those ages, you start seeing that it's not really that old. Because I remember, man, when I was a kid, 50 was like,
it must have been 80.
Yeah, you look like an old 50-year-old person now. People look like 30 years old when they're 50.
That's a fact.
But, man, RIP to him. Getting into it, man, so we can lighten the mood here a little bit. There was a Verzuz announcement. Your favorite TV show during the quarantine is trying to keep it rolling. Dipset and the Locks was the new announcement here, man. What do you think about the new Verzuz battle? Are you going to be tuning in for it?
Not gonna lie, I saw this and I thought it was a fan-made announcement because we've already had a Jada, which is obviously the biggest face of the Locks. We already had that. So this sounded a little bit like a repeat and just kind of like what New York would have wanted if they were over Verzuz. But this is actually the real deal, man. August 3rd, I will be tuned in. I would much rather have seen a G-Unit and Dipset. Clearly, Swiss missed the episode where we suggested that. Pay attention, Swiss, Tim, one of y'all, because the 50 and Cam on stage together would have been monumental. I know 50 is never going to do one of these in a million years. He's got other shit going on. He's a little too busy right now. But I think it would have been a better matchup, and it would have been more entertaining. I have Dipset, and it won't even be close. But I'll take it. It should be entertaining, though. These are entertaining personalities on stage. Cam should show out. He should show his ass.
I'm definitely looking for Cameron. Let me ask you a question about the G-Unit one.
Mm-hmm.
If 50 says, you know what, I don't care, you guys can use the music, I ain't got nothing to do with it, though, are you still tuned in with the same antennas up if it's Buck, Lloyd Banks, and Tony Yayo?
No, and hell no. No, I need Fifth. We got to have 50 for the theatrics, bro. He's going to make it for him and Cam are must-see TV on their own. I can only imagine what it's like getting them two on the stage or in a room together, bro. That we were robbed of that moment.
I would have loved to see 50 there too. I also, because I'm a big Cameron fan, I'd pay to see if 50 wasn't there and the verbal ass whooping that Cameron would give Buck, Lloyd Banks, and Tony Yayo on some, your boss didn't even show up, nigga. He sent the workers. He got y'all niggas out here for us to squad. I would love to see how Cameron had the slick shit to say about that, and Buck and them sitting there not able to do anything about it. But to the real verses, the locks. I'm cool with this. This is New York dream child, like you said. But I love the locks. I love Styles P as a personality. Like Jada Kiss, Sheik Luch is cool. Dipset absolutely reigns supreme down south over the lock. So this is not even a question for me as to who's going to win. But I do appreciate Styles P on social media this week, Jim Jones. They've been playing it up, playing it into it. I like the back and forth. It's not like any animosity, but it's also really New York. So you can't tell if they're joking or if they're serious. Today, Styles P threatened to beat up somebody for lacing Jim Jones' weed because that had to be the case if Jim Jones thought they stood a chance. I thought that was very funny. It's really cool to see Styles P take this on, and I can't wait to see them on stage and like kind of go back and forth and do their New York thing. I am here for that. I want to see some bravado, some New York slang and swag on there. I think we need to see that, and it's going to be fun. Going back to 50. I don't like, because he came out and said something this, and he was like, well, Verzuz is something we did when everybody was inside. We back outside. Like, I think that's bullshit. I don't appreciate him shitting on the brand that Swiss and Timberland have built. If you don't want to do it, bro, just don't do it. Don't be out here hating because you got a TV show telling niggas, oh, I wouldn't do it. Like, nobody cares, bro. Nobody really wants to see you do it. If we being 1,000, I just want T.I. to get on there and wash your motherfucking ass. Some niggas know the people from the South reign supreme over that shit. So I don't really appreciate 50 doing that. That was bullshit in my opinion.
Saying people are out and about and so they can't watch Verzuz, but pushing a TV show that is on TV in a house that you have to be inside to check for is complete bullshit. You hating on Swiss. If this was your idea, you'd be waving it and hashtagging it in every post just like you do everything else, dude. So stop the cap. If you don't want to do it, it's perfectly fine. They asked Ice Cube. Ice Cube said it. Nah, I respectfully pass. Maybe if it was formatted a different way, I'd check it out. But he didn't hate. And so, like,
Ice Cube got a lot to do too. He running the big
not for sure.
Like he's legit busy, and like you said, he didn't hate.
Now 50 busy too. Now we saw the trailer. We saw the trailer for BMF. They just dropped the Raising Cane and Joy. He's moving around too, though. He's moving around.
I don't know how much input 50 actually has on those projects at this point, but I get what you're saying. He ain't sitting at home either.
Nah, he ain't sitting at the crib.
But he was definitely hating.
Absolutely. And he got to kill that. Stop. Hey, man, let's keep it New York. Let's keep it up top. Pop Smoke, whose birthday actually just passed. I believe it was either today or yesterday. He just dropped his second posthumous album called Faith. The album came out 20 tracks. Only about 6 of them were solo tracks. A lot of fans were turned off by the fact that there were a ton of features on this album. A lot of people that said that Pop Smoke wouldn't have done records with any of these people. And there was a big lack of drill production on here. And people were saying he wouldn't have rapped on these type of beats either. So 2-part question. Do you understand the fans' gripes? And 2, did it get any play in your Jeep this weekend?
Great question, man. I kind of get the fans' gripes, but I also understand that this is the music business, and a lot of money was invested in Pop Smoke before he passed. And not to make it about dollars and cents, but to make it about business. If I'm going to put a Pop Smoke album out, I don't care who he would have put on there. I don't care if they wouldn't have been these beats. I'm trying to make a good album. I'm trying to make an album that's going to keep his name out there, that's going to feed his family. Like, he don't have control to make it as genuinely Pop Smoke as possible because he's unfortunately passed. So if I'm a music person, I'm going to try to make it as popping as possible. I'm not going to try and stick to what he would have wanted, because I don't know if that would have made me no money. I'm not just putting out albums not to make any money. So for that part of it, I get your gripe, but it's the music business. For the second part of it, I never really got into the New York drill stuff. I rarely like the Chicago drill stuff. There's a few artists that I do like, so I don't really check for Pop Smoke. But I did, after I seen the rumblings of the Pusha T verse and him throwing shade out there, rush to the album to at least check that song out. Yeah. And I have a few Pusha T comments after, or if you want to get into them now before you talk about the album. But as far as checking for the Pop Smoke and to get bumping my Jeep, no, not because I don't think the music is good, but just because I'm not a Pop Smoke fan.
Yeah. First of all, listen, people got to understand these records were probably halfway done to begin with. So if you want to feel like, if you want a whole album full of 1 minute and 26-second songs, okay, cool. If that's what you really want. But like, bro, it's not going to sound like a complete body of work. So the people who are behind this tried their best to make it sound like a complete body of work. So you're going to get a ton of features. We did this with Pac when he dropped the posthumous albums, and, you know, somewhat with the Biggie stuff as well. You got to kind of get creative, and that's what you needed to do, man. He had a big work ethic, so he left behind a lot of records. They just weren't all done. I thought the project was fine. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people were like, yo, he wouldn't have rapped on a Pharrell beat. Where's his original producers that he came up with the drill sound? I get that they don't want him to evolve, but I'm telling you, at his trajectory, he was going to be doing records with Pharrell sooner or later, because that's where he was headed. And I feel like people would have given it a pass if he was here, because he would have greenlit it, and maybe it would have been more on his terms, and it wouldn't have seemed forced to those people who are just day one Pop Smoke fans. I remember J-Ho tried to put me on Pop Smoke when his Welcome to the Party single came out, and I didn't really get it until I heard him on the Travis Scott Jack Boys. Then I understood kind of more of the sound, went to go listen to his project. It was banging, and became a fan. The project was fine to me. I like the different sounds, bro. I like them on Pharrell. Like, it shit didn't bother me. It reminded me of when Slim Thug came out on his first major label, and it was produced all by the Neptunes. And people in Houston were like, dude, what is this? But meanwhile, niggas across the country like me was like, oh shit, what is this? This shit is fire. But so it's a give and take. I understand, but I like the project, and it worked for me. I'm sorry, even with the features.
Yeah. I mean, again, like you said, growth is what it would be about. He didn't have the opportunity to grow into these things. So whoever put the album out, growing him into those Neptunes beats, growing him into the features that you may not have seen him when he was live, I think that's a good move. Like, I mean, I just can't see how it would negatively affect his like music or his legacy, anything like that. So I'm with it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's all about them streams, man. What about that Pusha verse?
Exactly. To Pusha T though.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem him using the promotion of this, using this album and verse to kind of like clear the way for himself. But what I will say is, I think we're past the waiting on Pusha T's album is over. Like, he missed that. Yeah. And that's on him. Like, you coming and saying, oh, weirdos got the crown. Like, I'm off the bandwagon of you dissing Drake and throwing sub shots at him, bro. Like, that was a moment. It's over now. Mm-hmm. I ain't hating or nothing. Like, niggas aren't the niggas that are anticipating Pusha T's album. Like, you don't gotta tease it. Just drop it. Like, a nigga been teasing it for 1.5 years, 2 years since the beef with Drake. Like, people are over it, bro. Like, just drop the album. Niggas know that you can rap. We know it's going to be good music. But we also know that there's a lot of people that ain't waiting for a Pusha T album. I put a Freddie Gibbs clip on the IG jokingly this week. Like, nobody was waiting for Freddie Gibbs. And I'm not saying it because he's not a dope artist. He is. I'm joking. But in the same vein, like, we ain't sitting around waiting on your album, bro. I promise you. I am. You're not, though, and there's a lot of Drake fans that could care less. So throwing sub shots and calling niggas weirdo, that's play, bro. You like the old nigga at the party.
I agree. And listen, that King Push has been coming soon longer than Down South Hustlers 2 at this point. He just drop. Who's making it? Is it all Kanye? Is it all Pharrell? Is it half and half?
Does it matter?
Bro, just put
it. At this point, it don't matter. Like, you the old nigga that talking about how you used to have it at this point. I know he can reflect. I know he know what that means. Like, he the old nigga that's talking about, man, I used to rap. Like, bro, just drop the album, my nigga. Yeah.
All the shots are played. Drake done had 8 number ones since y'all beef, dude.
Thinking about you no more, bro. Niggas know his son there. His son doing photo shoots, nigga. That's what the whole shit was about, nigga. Nigga, son that came. The world knows his son now, bro. Like your shtick is over. Drop the album, dude. God damn. Nigga, quit playing.
That's your man's.
Nigga milking it. Yeah, he was too. That's my guy. Come on, Push. You're letting me down out here. All right, speaking of anticipation, speaking of teasing an album, speaking of dropping out of nowhere, your mans, their rumors are coming out this week. A person that can actually tease an album and make you wait for years on an album titled Donda and wonder what he's going to do with it and show up to the Big 3 game in a fucking ski mask and call that album promotion. It's Kanye West, folks. He's back. He's in the trenches. People are saying the album is done. There's an event in Atlanta this week that I'm sure you're going to. Animal Brown, how excited are you about the rumors that the new Donda album is done and on its way?
Man, if we go on a scale of 1 to 10, nigga, I'm at a foul wow. Fuck are we talking about? Listen, everybody's I like, shout out to my guy Chris Platter. He said this on Twitter. Everybody's doing the promotion for Kanye. Kanye hasn't said a word. He hasn't tweeted. He hasn't done any interviews. He hasn't said anything at the damn Big 3 game. It looked like he was talking to Cube. I don't even know if he was actually saying anything because it was just a picture, or if Cube could even hear him to begin with because of the mask that he has on his face. But everybody's doing the talking for him. We saw KD talking. We saw Justin LeBoy or whatever the fuck his name is from the Respectfully, whatever the fuck the name of the show is, was talking about how it sounded, how Kanye sounds hungry, how there's a little bit of cussing in it, so it's not just all the way Jesus is king. It's got big features on it. The album listening party was somewhere. I don't know where that was at, that they held it, maybe LA, somewhere on the West Coast, but it is here in Atlanta too, Thursday. I couldn't get the tickets fast enough. My ass will be in there without question. I don't give a shit if we're just sitting there and he's just standing there with the mask on playing the album. That's fine with me. I got my money's worth. Point me to the merch. God damn it, I can't wait. I know several people that are going to be in there. It's going to be like a family affair. We kicking it. Another classic is on the way. Let's get it.
Is it? How much were the tickets?
20 and 50.
That ain't bad at all.
Yeah, that lets me know that probably nothing big is going to happen.
Yeah, come on, you getting y'all in there to sell y'all some merch.
Point me to the table. Listen, I'm buying everything in that motherfucker and flipping half of it.
I mean, I ain't mad. Like I said, this is what I did, similar to what I was saying about Pusha T and the point that I was trying to convey. Like Pusha T is not this type of artist for me to be waiting on the album this long, but Kanye West is. And it doesn't matter if you're in the middle Mercedes-Benz with a mask on or if you're doing a regular promo. Like Kanye West is a continuous moment. So I'm excited too. I'm excited in the sense of what you hint to. Like he hasn't said a word, and that excites me. That makes me think that we may get the old Kanye. Shout out to my Instagram again when I posted that clip about us wanting the old Kanye, not the preacher, not any of those other things, but the guy who was passionate as fuck about music and took forever to put out My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy because he was trying to perfect one fucking beat off of a third drum in the background of an intro. Like that's what I want. I want that guy right there that loves music that much and it comes out in the music. If he's selling merch, if he's doing the other things, if he's wearing the mask, at this point, I don't care. We were having a conversation in our group chat. Shout out to Extra. He was talking about when Kanye West lost people and this and that. I'm not that invested in him anymore. I'm not invested enough to be like, well, he supports Donald Trump or he does this and does that. Oh, I'm not going to buy the shoes or any of that. But if he come out and make banging music, I'm here for it. I would love, and I think it's a plus for the culture, especially at this moment. If you can get Kanye West back in his bag, well, I can't wait to hear him with someone like Lil Baby. I can't wait to hear him getting in the mix with niggas who deserve Kanye West collaborations and beats. And like, I just hope that this brings him back to what we thought we were getting posed to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah,
so I'm rooting for it to go well.
They saying Tyler's on there. There's some pretty interesting features. I'm just curious to see what it sounds like. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. He named it Donda. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, that's named after his mom. Like this is his 10th album.
From your observations, do you think that the culture is abuzz? Or do you think that some of the thought process is right as to people are over him and they don't care about this? Like just from your gauge out there in social media and talking to people, what do you think?
Nah, he still moves the needle, man. I had people that were from out of town that were like, damn, I wish I was there. Shout out to my man Derb. He said, dude, I'm going out. He sent me the link for it. He said, man, I'm going out of town, though, man. I'm sick. I can't pull up because it's still an event. Like, it's still Kanye. You never know what's going to happen. People respect his Carfax when it comes to music. He's not coming here for a presidential rally, dude. Like, nobody would have gave a shit. I wouldn't have gotten tickets to that. I'm getting tickets here for the music, which is what a lot of people are here for. What they're not here for, the antics on the side. When it comes to music and Kanye, they know how he gets busy. So that I still think there's buzz related to that. All the extra shit, man, I think people understand that it's theatrics. And some people are here for it. Most people aren't. But what most people are here for is when that record drop, dude. And they want to hear what it sound like because they know, like, he don't play in the kitchen when it come to this shit.
Fact. And especially, like you said, when he's not talking about it. Like, he talked too much about I'm doing the God stuff on the other one. He talked too much about Jay-Z on the one prior to that. Like, he ain't saying shit.
Yep.
And that reminds me of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, I didn't hear him say shit. He might have been talking, but it wasn't as public as the other stuff after that and before this. So if he's back in that bag, I'm not hearing nothing from him. And it's about, like you're saying, the music. Sign me up, because
Sci-Hi is on here too. Sci-Hi was working with him, said he was working with him on this project since the divorce.
Nice. So and Sci-Hi Pen Game, we already know what they do. So yeah, if this again is about the music, I love it, and I can separate the two.
Yeah. Shout out to people that can. M Extra was good. Before we get to the makings of a flawless album, Billboard dropped their money makers list. You know how they get down every year. It's the same thing. Now, they had 3 rappers in the top 10, right? The highest on the list, highest rapper on the list was, of course, my boy Drizzy Drake. Then he was number 6, 14 million. Then at number 9 was NBA Youngboy at 11.9 million. And 10 was Lil Baby at 11.7. For the record, number 1 was Taylor Swift with 23.8. Now, they broke down their earnings between streaming, sales, publishing, and touring. Were there any surprises on this list as it relates to hip hop for you?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. This list has the Eagles on it, has Taylor Swift. As you mentioned, Drake is number 6.
Yeah.
Man, I wasn't expecting to see NBA Youngboy's name.
That's a fact.
I'm not hating on him as an artist, but I never really consider him A-list when people are talking about him. But then every time numbers are released, he's at the top. YouTube streams, Billboard, Forbes, like he's just quietly doing this stuff. And I ain't saying quietly like he's staying out of trouble, because I think he's in jail right now.
Yeah, he is right.
But he never really is mainstream. And you would think like somebody, like everybody know who Lil Baby is, and he's 10th. Everybody knows who Drake is. That's unquestionable. And he's 6th. NBA Youngboy falling in between that at 9, making $10 million off streaming.
Yep.
Making a 1.7 million off pub, 130,000 in a row, which is not a lot during the pandemic. I mean, but it was high for a pandemic.
Right.
It's shocking to me that I think that he's not consumed on a mass scale as you would expect a rapper of his stature to be, but still he puts up the numbers like one of those rappers. Like he's putting up better numbers than J. Cole. That's
a fact. And he came in at number 9, right behind the Beatles at number 8. So,
like, we talking about NBA Youngboy, dude. Like, what? Like, if somebody came and told me that, I would, until they showed me this article, I say you lying. That's not true.
Man, what I tripped off of with this article was the touring numbers. Taylor Swift, and we're going to get to some hip hop in a second. I just thought this was interesting. Taylor Swift was number 1 overall with 23.8 million, and she made $0 in touring last year.
That is no. That's what I wanted to ask you about. But you know what she did, right?
What's that?
You know she's re-recording her albums.
Oh yeah, so she
for the whole so she can get the masters to him. So she's telling people to buy her albums again and just re-recording it now. Do you think that'll work in rap? I wanted to make that a topic in 1 week, but I guess we're here now.
Hey man, if you got the right person, you got to have the right fan base. Because
give me an example. Because niggas' voices change. Like imagine Cameron doing "Come Home with Me" again right now.
That's too late. That's too late. It's too late, man. It had to be somebody like Nicki, somebody with a cult following, like the
Could
Barbs.
Could Drake put out So Far Gone now?
Yeah, that'd be
beats.
fire.
You think he could do that now?
Yes.
Why would he?
Because to be honest, he sounds better now than he did then. So it would actually sound better. His flow and voice is more refined. He in his prime. He wasn't there yet on that. If you go back and listen to that, he sound different. He don't sing as well either. Or Pro Tools wasn't as good back then.
Is it different for rappers and singers in that though? Like, do you think it would play the same? Could Drake do that?
It would be tricky. It would be risky, but if somebody could, it would be him though.
Yeah, because it's hard probably trying to get bars off the exact same way.
That's tough. That's what I'm saying.
That's
tough.
I feel like if you're a singer, you can kind of hit that note the same a couple of times, but like a nigga go like Andre 3000 trying to go in there and re-record some shit. I don't know about that.
That's rough. Yeah. I was tripping though. So on the touring tip, if you look at Lil Baby, so he made $253,000 in touring last year. That came from 2 concerts. So if you look at 253 bands off 2 shows. So now it makes a lot more sense to me when you see Lil Baby with 15 luxury vehicles, or when you see him with a turtleneck of ice around his neck. It makes so much sense, dude. If I'm making $250,000 on 2 shows, that's a weekend.
That's $120,000 a show.
That's a weekend. You're telling me that's what I'm getting on a weekend?
And I'm doing that every night though. If I'm Lil Baby, I'm on the road. I got 30 dates. I got 30 dates, nigga.
1 off day.
Come on, bro. Niggas come home off tour and be good. That's why everybody was so sick during COVID. Not literally, but most of the artists. Like, niggas like, a nigga like Moneybagg Yo, I think this gives some kind of insight to what he was saying in that number, because he didn't stop to him. Like, where he was going, the chitlin circuit, them niggas had to give him 30, 40,000 on a Tuesday in Alabama. Yeah. I'm here. Yeah. He kept doing that all during the quarantine. So I can understand why he called it a pandemic.
Drake's touring was 0. Eminem was on the list. His touring was 0. Lil Uzi was on the list at number 15. Wait for it. His touring was 0. So it was just, I thought it was interesting. But another thing real quick, though, before we get to the topic, a lot of the hip-hop artists on the list, their sales royalty numbers were very low, comparatively speaking to the other acts on here. And I thought that was very interesting. But their streaming was higher than a lot of other people. So hip-hop apparently is a genre that gets streamed a lot, but doesn't get purchased a lot. And also the reason why you see a young boy up here this high, this is not a knock, but those like legacy acts like the Beatles or these other artists that make a lot of touring money, they didn't tour last year. So you didn't see those classic rock and those country artists high up on this like you would have, like a Pink Floyd or Eagles or stuff like that.
U2, all of that.
Yeah, those would be higher due to touring because that's all they do all year long. Thanks. So, but still, kudos to Young Boy and everybody that made the list, man. That's super lit. I don't know if he's getting out anytime soon to enjoy this, though. That kind of sucks.
I don't think this. I'm not sure. I haven't followed that case that far. I don't think that he's going to be in jail a long time, though. Like, they would make putting all kind of motions and petitions to get him out. So I don't think he's gonna be. It was some bullshit he was locked up behind. I believe, if I read the information right. But yeah, shout out to them, man. That's a good story. That's some good information. If you guys were wondering how artists have been making the money through the pandemic, where they stand now, I really want to see those numbers and how people are bouncing back and how high they may be. Because concert tickets and all of that stuff is gonna up through the roof.
It's been taking
all of that shit is gonna be expensive. So I want to see how that's gonna translate to the artists.
That's a fact, man. Let's get to it. What we got?
We're doing perfect albums, man. So I was listening to Scarface on Drink Champs, and this is what made me think of the perfect album, because Nori kept referring to The Fix as the perfect album. Even a couple people who were giving Scarface props, they called it the perfect album as well. So it got me to thinking, are there perfect albums in hip hop? You know, and what are they and what makes them perfect if they are? Now, the difference in a perfect and a classic to me is a more technical sense. Perfect is about fit. Perfect is about having that key. Like, let's say you have a basketball team or a shoe. That shoe or that player may not fit in another system, but it's a perfect fit for you. So that's a thought process that I had when I went into this. It didn't necessarily have to be highly regarded as a classic, but if it was a perfect circumstance, if it was a perfect message, if it was a perfect sequencing for you, I wanted to hear and wanted to talk about perfect hip hop albums.
Yeah, so I listened to that Drink Champs too. I got as far as I could. It's a really long episode,
Like
but
3 hours.
I got to about an hour and 10 hour, and I got to take a time out. I just can't. I can't go on a marathon of a Drink Champs episode, even though it was good what I saw. And I did get to that part where they talked about that. Do you think The Fix is a perfect album?
That is a great question. No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't. It's a really good album.
Absolutely. No, it's fire.
Really good album. But
it's flawed. It's got some flaws though.
Yeah, I had to stop and listen to it when they were talking. I'm like, wait, let me run this back.
They did make you do that.
Talking about it. I had to go listen to that. And how Scarface is passing. Now he knew them bars off the wham. Yeah. Nigga, he started rapping like the intro. That shit was fire when he did that. But yeah, it's a really good album. I don't think it's a perfect album in the sense of when I went back. Yeah. When I went back, that what I was just explaining about perfection, it didn't hit me like that. Like I remembered the dope songs and I remember how it sounded together, but it wasn't like, damn, this shit was perfect. Yeah, it wasn't that like some of the albums that I'm going to name later. You had another idea that I thought was really good, but I didn't have the bandwidth to put it together. Tell the people what you're going to do.
Yeah, I was thinking, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think there is a perfect hip hop album.
It's nuts to me.
Yeah,
I want to talk about that when we get to that. Is nuts. You've been listening to hip hop for 30 years, and you don't think that there's one perfect album. I text 15 people after you said that every one of them responded with at least one album.
Yeah, I don't.
Every one of them.
Every album that I love, that I keep in high regard, there's something that I would change. There's something that I don't like about it, and even though it may be very minor, it's just that's what it is. So that's why I look at it that way.
But you're a technical person though, like you're into like technical stuff. So perfection for you is more of a technical sense than it would be for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's definitely possible. That's why it was tough for me to think of one. But what I thought would be dope, and I stole this from FSP, so I can't take no credit. I thought about an episode that they did building the perfect point guard, and they took the handles of one player and the vision of another and the shooting of another, you know what I mean, and the speed of another to make like the perfect player. And I thought that would be dope, man. I haven't really seen that in hip hop. So I would take attributes from other albums and make them into one. So I thought production, bars, features, singles, and artwork, I would take one attribute from another album and make it into a flawless album.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. My mind just, like, when you said that to me, we were going back and forth in Texas, my mind just whoosh, like, there's no way conceptually that I would have been able to do that before we got ready. And that was my only thing to it. Like, I was just like, I would be going back and forth with myself so much about the production and the bars, because that's just how my mind works. It was very difficult task. So I do want to see where you go with this.
For sure. Yeah. What do we want to get in first, though? Do you,
I want you to do the one first that you would say, and then we'll talk about the ones that I pick in comparison to what you're saying.
So what I would do is, and I don't want this to be taken literally, as in I would take these specific bars and put them over this specific production. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the quality of bars and the quality of this production together would be flawless. So if you look at
give the people the categories one more time, because I think I missed it. You went by kind of fast.
I would say production, bars, features, singles, artwork.
Okay.
That's what, because sometimes you have a fire ass album, and then the singles, you'd be like, okay, they just did that to right. And that'll blow it, like Machiavelli and Toss It Up. That blew Machiavelli from being a perfect album, in my opinion.
But it's a good song, though. It even fits on the album. Like, it's Pac.
No.
Pac is the nigga that can go from Toss It Up to White Man's World in a sitting. That's why it's perfect, though.
I was listening to somebody from Death Row. I can't remember who it was, and it was on their Pac Serious channel. Right. In between the songs, they would have interviews, and I forgot who it was. It was Daz or somebody said that Toss It Up wasn't meant to be on Machiavelli, but Suge decided to put it on there because they needed a single, and so it actually didn't belong on that album, and you can tell because it doesn't sound like it. That's why I have singles as one of the categories.
Okay, that makes sense.
So this is what I did.
So you're starting with?
I'm going production.
I'm going
Astro World. That is an extremely high quality produced project. It sounds like a movie. It sounds like a score. Like it's got it. We talked about this when it came out. It fit the theme perfectly. All just transitions, beat changes. It flowed perfectly. Like the production on that is a very high level of production. Then bars, I would go Life After Death. I thought Biggie was in his Gucci bag that entire album. I'm never going to not listen to that album for the shit that he's saying. I could run back to acapella if they made that to that project. That's how hard like he's just rapping his ass off. If I had to go features, I would take the features of Good Kid, Mad City because they were minimal, but I thought they fit the tone perfectly. You got the new hot rapper with Drake, you got the home team with J-Rock on Money Trees, and then you got the OG with Dre and MC8. And that's it. Like we're gonna keep it short and to the point and touch on every generation, get the home team in there, get J-Rock's best verse ever, and just keep it simple. He ripped that. That's my
J-Rock
features.
Any kind of way though.
Nah, for sure. Then singles, I would go The Chronic. Nothing But a G Thing, Dre Day, and Let Me Ride. Nigga, all three of those songs are classic songs. You had three classic singles when traditionally you'll have a black album and then the singles will be Changed Clothes, which is trash because, again, you're trying to make shit for 106 in Park. So, and lastly, I would go artwork. I would go Graduation. Kanye. I love the cartoon thing that he did with Murakami. He went to fucking Tokyo or Japan, you know what I'm saying, chopped it up with the hottest street artists over there, came back, got his album cover dope. I remember when I bought that and opened it up and all the colorful graphics. I thought that shit was a game changer. He ended up working with him again on Kids See Ghosts. But that's one of my favorite.
The same dude from Graduation?
Yes.
He dropped a ball on the Kids See Ghosts.
Nah, that shit was dope too. I'm hot at you. But the Graduation artwork is fire. That's my perfect album.
Like you comparing it to Graduation though, it ain't.
Yeah, that's true.
That was my context when you said the same dude did. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's true.
That's fine. I like that. Maybe we'll throw mine on YouTube at some point when I have time to think about this and do one of that nature. But that's a really dope one. We'll put the list somewhere in the show notes. Astro World, I loved. Just to comment on some of the things that you threw out there, Astro World, I loved. I agree, man. That was like you were pressing. When you press play, it was like walking into an amusement park, literally. Mm-hmm. Like you walked in, you rode the roller coasters, you seen the crazy houses, the people over there guessing your weight. Like it was literally that type of vibe, and it was dope as fuck. So I agree with that. That's a really good one. Now, on to my list and other like classic albums in comparison, you named some great albums there. Some of them that people responded to me when I asked. I'll get to the people's responses and what they thought were classic albums later on. But I have a list of about, brace yourself here, 10 at least perfect albums to me. And I'll go into context on a couple of them. We don't want to keep you guys here all night, but I'll run off the 10.
Go for it.
Him. You don't know where that's from. All right.
Al Bundy.
To Pimp a Butterfly, Machiavelli.
Hey, we can log off now, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all, man.
That was the first one I thought of when I said this, when I thought what a perfect album was. To Pimp a Butterfly, Machiavelli, Get It How You Live, Hot Boys, Black Album, The Dynasty, The Blueprint, Riding Dirty, Victory Lap, Diplomatic Immunity, Me Against the World, Teflon Don. Give me one of those where you just are perplexed about and you're like, absolutely not.
I like almost all of those. Let's be very clear.
Do see why those are classic albums, right?
I thought you saying perfect. Which one are we doing?
Excuse me, not perfect. I mean, that's what I meant. I'm just wording it wrong.
Because there's no way with Teflon Don, with that song with Diddy and Trey Songz, that's a perfect. That shit is garbage.
Well, here's the thing about the albums and why I named some of this, and I'll go with the Teflon Don. That song is bad, but again, when we're talking about these albums, it's not classic; it's more so perfection to me, and it's subjective in a sense of how you use it, the messaging, all of those things. And when I'm talking about Teflon Don, Rick Ross was in this space when he dropped his album where it solidified his character. Like these songs, everything on here all solidified where he was as the Teflon Don, as the boss. And it was perfect in the sense of where he was in his career. And I think that goes a long way. If we're talking about an album like Victory Lap, for instance, unfortunately, we lost Nipsey during the time that this was really being promoted and he was talking about it and it started to catch the grips of people were thinking of how great an album it was. That played into the circumstances and the timing of it, similar to Machiavelli. Like it upped the album's ante, and the fact that the album was really good adds to the perfection of it. Like Nipsey didn't stray away like what you're saying when people try these singles and do things for the albums and push it. Like you go back and listen to this, Nipsey would be proud of it. He would be the person, he would be like big up in this album as to how he kept it on that. Now, if I'm talking about, let's say, To Pimp a Butterfly, the tone of that album, you didn't have another star of that caliber giving you that message. So it was perfect in the sense of the things that were going on in the world, the artist that was giving it to you, and the imagery. It not necessarily where people like you were saying that the music, oh, that sucked, the skits were wild, but it fit Kendrick Lamar, especially where he is now and falling off the face of the fucking earth. It fit being the second part of his story, especially since we don't know if we're ever going to get a fourth part. This part having solidified his blackness and a message that I think that he really wants to get out there. That was perfect. It was perfect coming right after Good Kid, Mad City. It was perfect coming right before Damn. That I think takes execution. The Dynasty is the one I wanted to explain the most as far as Jay. I think that Jay gave you 3 volumes of me rapping my ass off and solidifying myself as the king of New York. Prior to me giving you me being this billionaire, turning myself into Jay-Z, I'm going to give you all of the people on my label and introduce you to the people that are going to be running it for the next few years. I'm going to give you just enough of me so when Blueprint comes out, you will consider me the best rapper walking. I think that the perfection of, I may be giving him a lot of credit on how he did this, but as a fan, letting it play out like that, I loved it, and I think it was perfect. Most of these albums are placement, especially like Riding Dirty. Bun B said that's giving you the perception of a night out in Houston. 1995, when this dropped, this album didn't have any singles either. But when this dropped, for me, I didn't have that representation from, like, I wasn't relaying to Mobb Deep or any West Coast groups the way that I did a Southern group. This was the most polished, the most polished, I would say, UGK album. And this was a really good representation of Southern music, the Southern groups, and in comparison to the West Coast and the East Coast. So those are my perfect album. Those are some of the things that I thought about when I was listening to Perfect Album. Of course, again, they're not classics in the sense of all of them where you're not skipping anything, but the perfection of the placement, where they were, how they were received is more so for me.
Yeah, see, I'm looking at Perfect as in it's flawless, and there's flaws in all of those albums. That's the thing. But especially some more than others, but I know it's all relative at the end of the day.
When I told, like, I was having this conversation with, shout out my guy, and I gave the player analogy to him because he said the same thing you did. He named an album and he said the same thing you did. And I was like, if it's you got a team, as a coach. I said, let's say you have a team and you're looking at this player, you're scouting him, you're like, okay, this is the perfect player for my system. Another coach comes and criticizes him and says he can't do this, he can't do that. It doesn't mean he ain't the perfect player for your system anymore. It means he's just not the perfect player for my shit. Yeah, I'm taking anything away from me, dude. So I get what you're saying, and especially knowing you are a more technical guy. But I think my point is kind of valid as well.
Yeah, no.
Send me a list if you want to. He sent 34.
Who did?
Chris.
Yeah, let me hear that.
34 albums.
Ooh, I'm joking. Come on now.
It's not 34, but he did say he wanted me to read them. Shout out to Chris. Strictly hip hop, and strictly hoops. Off-season J. Cole, 444 Jay-Z, The Black Album, The Blueprint, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Illmatic, Victory Lap, Daytona, Blank Face, Doggy Style, which I forgot. That is a perfect album. Doggy Style, I forgot. Machiavelli, and Get Rich or Die Trying.
First of all, as much as I love Machiavelli, no one in the world is riding around to toss it up. Everybody on earth skips that song on that album. We all know this. Nobody. I'm talking about. You may run back Machiavelli to hear Bomb first. You may run it back to hear White Man's World. No one is running it back to hear Toss It Up. I put that on everything I love.
My mom definitely listened to Toss It Up. My mom fucked with Pop.
I mean, that's fair.
And I have my mom was 20 years older than me, so people think that's wild. Like when I was listening to Pop, there was a few songs that you can let that ride. That was one of them.
That was for the ladies for sure. But listen, same thing for Black Album. That album is incredible. We're not listening to Change Clothes, bro. No one is.
But that album is the perfect album. Like, there's no better album for a nigga finna retire than that.
Yeah, it is. If you took off Change Clothes, it would have been.
No, that's perfect for the circumstances. Like an old watch nigga gonna give you Change Clothes. A nigga that's finna retire gonna give you Change Clothes though. Like that's acceptable. Like, I wouldn't expect Change Clothes in no other era from Jay-Z. Maybe that other trash album. What's the name of it? Kingdom Come. Yeah. Maybe Change Clothes to go in there. But being an old watch nigga, like, I'm finna retire. Yeah, here you go. We go Change Clothes. Network Love, my guy, big shout out Jeff.
Okay.
The Fix, Victory Lap, Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, The Recession, Get Rich or Die Trying, God Forgives and I Don't.
That's real.
Not saying these are classics, but perfectly sequenced and no skips is his caveat.
Shout out to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That last song, All in This World, whatever the fuck that is, that song is trash, dude. That song is trash. If he would have took that's what I'm saying. Listen, Kanye is close on about 2 or 3. If he would have took that song off, then that album is flawless, like, period. But that song is garbage, bro. So I can't give. Same for Graduation. If he would have took Stronger off, Graduation is
banging. I'm hot at you again.
Stronger, bigger, faster, forger.
Banging, dude.
No,
turning up to that.
No.
All right, here go another list, and I'm sure will piss you off.
Oh shit.
Some of the same. Illmatic, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is getting a lot of love. The Black Album is getting a lot of love. The Cool, Lupe Fiasco. This is from my guy Nick. Shout out to Nick over there at Frames.
So not the first Lupe, but the Cool, the second one.
Cool, absolutely. Life After Death. You should like that one. Bang. And my wild card that you will probably make you never respect my opinion on hip hop ever again. Who do you think this artist is? With reading that caveat.
Lil Flip? I don't know.
No. Who do you hate?
Who do I hate? There's not a lot of people.
So Much Fun, Young Thug.
Oh my.
Perfect album from my guy Nick.
Bro.
Shout out my guy Sean Wash, man. He said The Chronic. And one more that I wanted to hit on. Sam. Shout out our guy Sam, man. Helps us with some marketing and things on the back end. He just sent the screenshots. Good Kid, Mad City. Thug Motivation 101. Astro World. The Black Album is on every list.
People forgot about Change Clothes. That's why.
And Cushion OJ. I'm telling you, Change Clothes is acceptable for an old watch nigga, man.
There's
like
you was
trying to get volume 2 Jay-Z. That was Black Album Jay-Z, Change Clothes.
What's the Black Album? What's the song with Quick on Black Album? That ain't nothing. Oh my God, what is that song?
I'm leaving. I'm out.
That shit is trash. Justify My Thug.
Justify My Thug is some slaw?
Slaw, bro.
That's nuts.
Everything else is amazing.
Nuts. Jay is murdering that.
No, that ain't it, bro. Big skips. Skip to my Lou. Somebody, Life After Death. Let's talk about Life After Death.
It was a Life After Death.
Love it.
What'd you think about that Cushion OJ?
That's a classic.
It's
a classic mixtape.
So these are solid mentions. All of these are solid mentions. I see where everybody was going. You, on the other hand, out of 30 years, couldn't come up with one, which is fucking amazing. If you had to pick one album, what would it be?
Thriller.
What?
Thriller.
Oh, shut up. One hip-hop album.
Anita Baker, Rapture, nigga. That's a perfect album.
Off the Wall is better than Thriller, by the way. So you can't say
Off the Wall is fire, and a lot of people like to champion that.
Off the Wall is better than Thriller. That's like a fact. Like there's no way you can debate that. Huh?
It's banging though, but it ain't.
Yeah, Off the Wall is the album. Probably maybe one of the best albums ever.
No.
Easy. We
People just do that. People just do that because Thriller get all the shine.
No, Off the Wall is a better album. It's better than Thriller.
I don't think so.
That's nuts. You just trolling now.
Graduation is probably the closest though. That's close because Stronger is cool. Like I get it. It's stadium.
Drunk and Hot music. Girls for me would be
I fuck with that song though.
But that would get it out of there for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I go back and listen to this album, it can put me in the same place I was in when I bought that album, which is fucking phenomenal to be able to do. Yeah. But Drunk and Hot Girls is always Skip to My Lou.
I like that song. Damn.
I tolerated it when it came out. Now as an adult, even more so, I really can't listen to
it. That Life After Death got the song with Lil' Kim on it, the Nasty Girls, whatever.
Yeah, they gotta go.
Oh my God.
They gotta go. But everything else is flawless on that nigga rap. Like every now and then, like I take gaps in between listening to that and go back and listen to it. And another one of those things about this album and one of the like Black Album too, I'll find myself like, God damn, he was ripping that.
Yeah.
Like just like I'm surprised all over again when I'm listening to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree that it's fun to go back and listen to some of these, but at the end of the day, no flawless hip hop album exists. Sorry, guys.
You guys give us your perfect albums in the comments and on the YouTubes. Let us know what you think your perfect albums is. And you weirdos out there that don't think there are any perfect albums, salute to you as well.
Sorry, guys. Let us know, man. Go to Facebook, join the rap chat, do all of that good stuff too, man. We got some wins. Did anybody else submit any? That was it. I don't want anybody else.
That was pretty much it. I think that was it.
I can respect it.
Let me do one more stroll. Yeah, that was it.
That So Much Fun was nasty, though.
Nick sick, man.
That was nasty.
Nick a pretty sick dude, man.
Shit.
Wins and some losses, man. First W of the week go to Moneybagg Yo, man. In addition to that Billboard report, another report came out of the highest earning artist of 2020, for hip-hop album sales. We did earning artists. Moneybagg Yo has the #1 hip-hop album for sales to date. Are you surprised by that?
I am. 659,000 units moved. Pooh Shiesty was second with 642. We know that's the single getting a lot of spins, pumping up the album. That's why it's so tricky to look at sales now, because you can have a hit record and it'll pump up your album sales because people are listening to the single. But with all due respect, that's with all due respect, because I fuck with Moneybagg Yo. J. Cole was #3 at 623 for anyone asking.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got 2 thumbs and called Moneybagg Yo and Pooh Shiesty in our predictions this year? No one on this guy right here run the fucking tape. Me, Pooh Shiesty and Moneybagg Yo, I definitely call. Shout out to them for that, man. Also, a W goes an update as well, man. My guy Dame Dash, friend of the show, he won his lawsuit, man. We always bring up when he's in court or when he takes an L. He won the NFT lawsuit about reasonable doubt and being able to sell his share of it. The judge decided in his favor.
There's a new update to that. A new judge.
Jay-Z hire bigger lawyers to get taken back to court.
A new judge, because Dame was trying to get a restraining order on Jay and the shareholders so they wouldn't hold a meeting without him, and the judge denied that. So they are able to hold a meeting in regards to the reasonable doubt, in regards to Rockefeller Records, which Dame owns a third of. So they're able to hold a meeting, and he thinks that they're going to try to come up with provisions to box him out of the sale.
That's why he can't be in the meeting.
There you have it. And he also just lost a lawsuit for copyright, man. He owes some young ladies $300,000, man. He just lost that.
Hey, man, these are W's, not L's. We talk about that all the time. Big W's for Dame Dash for winning the Jay-Z lawsuit.
Yeah.
All the other shit is irrelevant.
Shout out to Dame.
All right, man. Getting to the L's, your man. L to Whack 100, man. He is requesting a sit down with the rainbow head rapper so he can look him in his eyes, because no one in the culture has held him accountable. Man, Whack, you are not the culture judge, dude. Get this shit out of your head. Like, what makes him think? Like, no one cares if you sit there and talk to dude. Like what? This makes no sense to me, man.
And on top of that, he requested to sit down from academics.
Like, bro, relax. Like, I never met a gangbang nigga that was about the shit that he about. Like, I ain't questioning the nigga set or what he come from or nothing, but I ain't never met a nigga that was about that life to be on the type of shit he on, man. That shit nuts.
Nobody cares about
why are you trying, like, who wants to have a conversation with dude and be like, I want to hold him accountable because he's never atoned for his sins against the culture. Bro, what are you talking about? Give a fuck, this dude. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Go look at them documentaries and see what dude come from. He ain't got nothing to do with this culture, dude.
Basically,
he shucked a couple of niggas in a gang in New York, dude. Now they're in jail, and now he's still trying to pop as a rapper. That's it. Ain't no more to the story, dude. Ain't nothing to hold him accountable for, bro. Get him out of here. No one wants to talk to dude.
Nobody's keeping dude's name alive. But when you do stuff like this, you keep his name in the news.
Yeah, like, nigga like Wack trying to get clicks and shit, keeping his name out there. Let that dude go, bro. Think of another scheme to get on with, bro. Talk about some more shit, my nigga. We do have an update though on YFN Lucci, man. The murder charges were dropped. So shout out to him on that, man. You reported about that a couple of times. He had the RICO case and the murder charges. So he done knocked down one of those big boulders that were in his way. Now he's staring at that RICO case.
Yeah, that's ugly. That RICO one gonna be the uphill battle. But I saw Boosie talking about this. Said, man, come on, man. Lucci ain't running no gang. He not running no gang. He said it just like that. It was funny, but he was dead serious. He was like, bro, I'm gonna tell you what was fun, because he was on Vlad and he said, I know rappers that's running gangs and Lucci ain't running gang, and people in the comments like, nigga, the police watching this like, oh, okay, and who would that be, man?
Would you care to elaborate? I'm surprised Vlad didn't ask him. What rappers run gangs, Bootsy? So ass up, nigga.
But yeah, he said running a criminal organization takes way too much time, and when you're a rapper and you're on tour and your job is being a rapper, you don't have time to run a criminal organization.
Who said that, Boosie?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? He must not know Lucci, dude. He don't know Lucci background, dude. Like I think I ain't here to help the police out at all, but I think Boosie got Lucci fucked up. I think he got him fucked up. He need to do a little research, man. Like he need to do a little looking around, asking around down here. He down here in Atlanta. Boosie just need to ask a couple people, man.
That's a fact. Have you ever ran into Boosie?
Yeah. Before I went to my world-class barber that I go to now, I was going to the same barbershop. Like it had those little, you know how they have the different rooms with the barbers, like it'll be a big ass building down here, but everybody got like a lash spot and a massage. One of the barbers, was cutting Boosie hair. Boosie was sitting outside smoking while he was in there cutting. So he just ran. And then also when we did OndeckTV.
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah.
Seen the throwback that back in 2008. I just posted that not too long ago. Check my IG out. It's popping, man. Y'all got to tune in. Absolutely. Doing the damn thing. But then too, man. We waited all night for that Boosie clip. You remember that?
Absolutely.
Man, that was a long ass. Shout out to Tank the motherfucking Heat Totem, man. From Nashville, Tennessee, man. He got us in the door. That's when we were first starting out as young pups in this entertainment game, man. So we were trying to get a exclusive interview drop from Bootsy. And we teamed up with Tank because he was going to open for him at the club.
Yep.
And we got with Tank. We met at my house pregame. I think we got with Tank maybe at about 7:30.
Yeah.
And we ended up finally getting Boosie on camera at like 3 a.m.
Yep. For a 20-second drop.
For a 20-second, it's Boosie. This OndeckTV, and he was out. And we put in hours for that drop, nigga. So when you go see that shit, respect the goddamn hustle, nigga.
It's on YouTube still, man. Y'all go look that up.
That was in 2008, nigga.
That's a fact. Yeah. On Deck of the Week, man, we back at iTunes. Shout out to those people leaving ratings and comments. We got one from Nitty282. He said, what's good, guys? Y'all keep killing it. Keep up the good work. 5 stars. We appreciate you, Nitty.
Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Make sure y'all go to iTunes, man. Leave a comment. We appreciate that. It does something for the algorithm, I think. I don't fucking know, but just do it just because we'd appreciate it. Get us in those new and newsworthy sections.
So, what it does for the algorithm, if you are sitting, if you're listening, you've been listening for a long time, you're like, well, I don't need me to do what everybody else is doing. Not true. If you rate it and you write a comment, what that does is the more people that do it, it moves it up into Apple's algorithm. They think people are paying attention to it, so they promote it. And they start, like you said, putting it in their news and noteworthy. And we're able to get a lot more eyes, a lot more ads, a lot more content going out and coming in. So it's going to be better for y'all. We can use that, manipulate it to do bigger and better shit.
Absolutely, man.
So rate, subscribe, and like, comment as well on all of it. YouTube, all that good stuff.
For sure. There was a couple of YouTube comments too. We'll get to those next week, man. We see it. We gonna show you some love too next week. Don't worry about it.
Oh, we forgot. Did you want to say anything about the Benny interview before
Shout out to Benny, man. Shout out to the feedback that we got on the Benny Pugh episode. Great look, man. President of Rock Nation. That's nothing to sneeze at. 30 years in the game. It was just cool to get his perspective because he's not a household name executive. You know what I'm saying? You got the Leors, you got the household name executives, and then you got those who have put in the same amount of work and are responsible for a lot of careers of people that we know, but haven't necessarily got the recognition or haven't chosen to be in the limelight like that. So we like highlighting those people too, man, because they got stories to tell and they connected and respected. So had a great time with that interview, man. Look forward to kicking it when he come down to the A next time.
Absolutely, man. It's always fun getting that information for me too. And his energy was a big thing for me, man. Like doing this, as we mentioned, we've been doing this for a while with the Bougie story. Sometimes you run into people who just like have bad energy. Like it ain't fun to talk to them. It's just on pins and needles. Like Benny, he did it that when he first came in, he was live, he was on it, he was giving us recognition. He had did a research about our show. You could tell he respected what we did and how we were making it come across. So I like that. I like when people pay attention to that and know that you're putting in the effort and you're not just picking up a microphone or a camera and just throwing some shit together and saying, hey, this is a podcast or this is a show. So I do respect it, that he was veteran enough and seasoned enough to see what we're doing over here and fucking with it. I liked it, man. He had great energy was my thing from it, and some good feedback too.
100%, man. 100%. What you got? You got to put on for me?
Yes, man. First of all, my first put on, I'm going to say this every time right here until Glasses Malone responds to me. Hardest podcast, and he the hardest podcaster other than me right now on the planet right now. The topics, how the conversation, how it's going, like he reminds me of a young Tax Tone, man. Cut this up. When you edit this, let me send it to him so he can contact us, because Glasses is bodying the podcast game. If you didn't believe me the previous 3 weeks that I said it, go listen to No Ceilings podcast. It's fire. But thank you for that payment, Glasses, on that. I catch up with you on the cash app for now. No, my other put on will be Counterpart. It's a Starz original series, 20 episodes. It was canceled after the second season. It's on Amazon now. Man, some of the best TV I done watched in a minute. It's an old show, so it came out in 2016 and 2018. So I'm not comparing it to the new stuff that's out now, but I wish I had been watching this when it came out. Man, these 20 episodes are fire, just right up my alley. It's on some sci-fi spy thriller type shit. And when I say right up my alley, I love shit where the ending is key. And all 20 episodes, you did not know what was going to happen until the end, until it ended. So that's the type of shit that I like. Up until the last scene, I was wondering what the fuck was going to happen, and they didn't disappoint even with not knowing if it was going to be canceled or going to a season 3. They still ain't determined. It's been 3 years yet. But Counterpart, check that shit out. It's fire. Stars J.K. Simmons. It on Starz and Amazon Prime. That shit is really fucking good, and it's only 20 episodes.
Mid.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, we talked about this last week. Yes,
I watched it though. I mean, did you see all the way through the 20 episods?
No, I left after season 1.
So. That's what I was talking about. I want to follow up on it.
Got out of there.
Fire when you get to the end of it.
Nah. My put on, man, shout out to Space Jam 2. Shout out to my guys out there with kids.
Because no one knows about that.
I loved it. I love the movie. Fuck it. I thought it was big shout out to LeBron. If you look at, obviously we're old enough to remember when the original Space Jam came out with Jordan. It was a big deal then for us young teenagers. sports fans, movie fans, seeing Jordan. That was cool. Obviously, his acting was subpar. So is LeBron's. I'm not coming to this to see Denzel-like acting chops, but to see LeBron produce the movie and to see what the product was, a high-quality animated kids movie that had enough adult jokes in there to keep adults' attention, and to see the type of numbers that it ended up doing, and to see what his company is up on the table for a sale right now, about to make himself $1 billion while he's still in the prime of his hooping career. There's no way I can slander that. He just won a chip last year.
Prime.
We're 12 months away from him getting sized up for a ring, dude.
Prime.
Listen.
Another ring? You think LeBron get another ring next year?
No, I'm saying he just had one. That's my point.
Not in his prime.
While he was filming this.
LeBron James not in his prime, though. But yeah, well, I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt the soliloquy.
Maybe not prime, but you know what I mean. He's still relevant in sports, highly relevant. And to see him doing this at the same time, he's setting the blueprint up for people to come up under him. And in 20 years, Cade Cunningham, the Detroit Pistons #1 pick, will have his own Space Jam, and he'll be a legend with several rings with my Pistons. So shout out to LeBron, shout out to Space Jam. It was a good time. I thought that shit was good, man. Fuck it.
What made you want to watch it? A basketball fan, a LeBron fan, just curiosity?
Just seeing the original one and just curious to see how he did the second, because his production company was behind it. I did the same thing with the Kevin Hart movie on Netflix. His production company was behind that. I'm interested to see if there's a lapse in quality or anything when someone who's in front of the lens has a company behind it. Sometimes you can get to juggling too many balls, paws, and you drop one trying to.
LeBron.
No, I'm saying when the talent goes behind the lens, you can do too much, man, and it can kind of be, you know what I'm saying? It kind of be janky, but this wasn't the case, man. It was dope. It was.
I get what you're saying in that sense, but I think, and I guess this is the reason why I haven't checked it out, because I give LeBron James and Kevin Hart both a lot of credit. Those that they both are smart enough to know, like, I can afford to get the best people to do this, so I'm going to pay them to do it. I'm not going to pull a Tyler Perry and try to write it and fucking film it and do everything that's over my head when I'm only good at this particular thing. So I wouldn't expect any lapse in quality, because I see both of those guys know business. I love their business acumen.
But you've seen this happen before, though. And 50 said that 50 just had an
I don't think that those people I don't think that those other people are good businessmen. Like, I don't think that 50's a good,
because this happened with P.
I don't think that P a good businessman. We've discussed this before. Like, he's great when he can focus on one thing, but I wouldn't consider him. Let me rephrase that.
Please.
He's a better businessman than me at this point, but I wouldn't consider him as good a businessman as a Kevin Hart or a LeBron James.
I think they have better teams.
Yeah, but that's on him, because he had the money to hire the team. And
that's my point.
That takes away from your business overall acumen, in my opinion.
But 50 said, shout out to, because he was promoting the Raising Canaan. I know we're going long, but I thought this was important. He was promoting Raising Canaan, and he said, shout out to Master P, because he made things like this possible for me to be able to be behind a rapper, to be behind the camera and behind the production and producing high quality content. See, when P did it, he said he didn't go so much on the quality because he knew people were going to see it, whether he spent $10 or $100 million, the same amount of people were going to go see it. So same thing for Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry has the same mind frame. He doesn't have to go and get big name writers and producers, because the same people are going to go see it because his name is on it.
And we can just edit this out if you want to, but I disagree with that wholeheartedly. And I think that's the issue with shows that Tyler Perry and 50 Cent put out. Like, yeah, you're putting it out in your 50 Cent and Stars has it, and that's great, but it ain't good. Like, I watched, and this is going to sound like a dig at 50. I tried to watch the Kane and shit. It's just, it's not as good as it would be if you hired people that knew more about storytelling and that knew more how to make this look better. Like the regular shit that's on TV, like those people are out there. Just because you have taken a different route in production and gotten there a different way, don't mean you got to stray away from the people in the industry already that know how to make this shit good. Like, Power could be better, and everything that Tyler Perry does could be better. And it's not because those guys lack the resources to do it. It's because they think that they can do everything. When you get a nigga like LeBron James or Kevin Hart, I respect them saying, hey, what do you think? Like LeBron James ain't the nigga that made the shop look like that. He ain't the nigga that made Space Jam look like that. And I think 50 Cent and Master P get too involved in, I want to make it look like this, as opposed to a nigga like LeBron and Kevin Hart calling, hey, how much do you charge to make it look like that fly ass shit that's on TV right now? Okay, I'm going to pay it because I know my name is attached to it. And this pretty penny that is going to cost me for production right now is going to pay off in the long run when I'm getting that 250 bill, whatever LeBron getting offered right now. 50 Cent ain't getting them deals, and neither is P, because they slacking their production. Tyler Perry is a niche thing because he was able to create a market. We were talking about this in the group chat. He's getting that big money, and I'm not taking anything away from him because of the niche that he's in, though. Like he can do whatever he wants, essentially. Like the fan people, the people that are checking his shows out, they ain't gonna leave because the quality is good, and they ain't gonna stay because it's bad. Like, it doesn't matter to them. All that matters to them is that Tyler Perry's name is on the moniker. That's it. He got that crowd already. They ain't going nowhere.
That's a fact. It was very interesting, man. But that was a good interview with 50. His interviews are usually pretty insightful when he's not trolling, or when he's not trying to beef with somebody, man. He usually drops pretty good business knowledge. But we appreciate y'all hanging in with us for that extended Tyler Perry discussion. Man, but
business discussion. You know,
y'all check out Space Jam if y'all got kids or if you're just a movie fan, man. That shit was pretty good.
It's a nice business discussion. It's what we do on the OndeckTV podcast, man. It's one of the pillars of what we do.
Absolutely, man. Hey, guys, again, iTunes, comment, youtube.com/OndeckTV. Make sure you like and subscribe and keep your eyes peeled, man. More big episodes on the way. We appreciate everybody's support again. We'll see y'all next time.
Chill.